Hi everyone. I just wanted to show everyone my new, well, not new, I've had him for about 6 months, my panther chameleon. His name is Felix. And Felix is a nosy bee chameleon. I bought him off of Chameleons. They're the best chameleon breeders I know. All their hybrids always come out to be amazing and beautiful. Yeah, and this little guy, he's adorable. And I was just gonna make a video, maybe to show and to tell people the top things that when people get a chameleon, they don't realize what they're getting into until it's already too late. So to start off with, chameleons are insectivores. So insectivores are animals who eat only insects. So chameleons, they can eat crickets and superworms and mealworms and waxworms, butterworms, silks, horns, anything that you'd be able to get at any pet store or breeder or expo that sells feeder insects. Obviously, there's some feeders that are better than others. So Felix, like any other, sorry, I went down my back. Any other reptile would always prefer the better ones that he considers to be better. So silkworms, waxworms, butterworms, hornworms. Silks are his favorite. And think of silks and hornworms to be like McDonald's. Tastes good, but it's not always great to have all the time. So you want to make sure their diet is supplemented with what we consider staples. So staples are crickets, superworms, mealworms. They have a crunch to them, and they really provide all the nutrients that your chameleon would need in order to grow big and strong, right, Felix? So if you're not into bugs, chameleons probably aren't the pet for you, because when they're babies, they can eat anywhere from 10 to 15 crickets in a day easily. Sometimes you could feed them nonstop and they would just keep eating. So if you're not into keeping, so these are insects that it's not like a bearded dragon where you could probably just throw them in every 3 or 4 days and supplement their foods with other vegetables and other stuff like that. I'm not sure. I don't really own a bearded dragon, but these guys have to eat insects every single day, dosed with calcium and vitamin D and all that good stuff to make sure they grow nice and big. So that's the one thing that I never realized before I got him. Another thing is they do have heat requirements. So if you're not into an animal that would require a heat requirement, maybe chameleons aren't the pet for you. They do require a UVB lamp. Depending on the size of their cage would determine the wattage. With Felix, I also do have a basking light that provides his light during the day and his heat, as well as a night bulb, because I live in a basement apartment, so it tends to get a tad bit cold during the day, during the night, and I don't want him to get cold, because chameleons get cold just like any reptile really quickly. What else? They do require an open air terrarium, so they're one of the only reptile species that do require an open air, because they're very sensitive to the humidity and ventilation in their environment and their surroundings. So if you're not up for having this big terrarium in the middle of your living room, they're probably not for you. So I don't know if I've already mentioned this, but Felix is a nosy bee chameleon, which means he's the blue color. So Yeah, and there's different varieties you can get with different colors, just depending on what your fancy is. All colors, no color really is different from the next. It's just your preference. What else do I need to tell you about this little guy? You can't really see the beauty of his color just because I'm on my Mac. But he's very beautiful. He's very blue. He looks white on here just because of the lighting, but he's very blue. I'll post some pictures at the end of the video to show you true justice. Felix is very, very curious. Chameleons do need playtime, as I like to call it. They like to get out, they like to socialize, to see what's going on. I'm actually in the works of getting a big, tall plant for my apartment where he can just chill out when I'm, when I'm around, for him to get a little bit of exercise. They're very friendly. He's never bit me. He's never attacked me by any means. He's very loving, very friendly. I like to think he recognizes my voice when I walk home, when I come in the door at the end of work and he sees me. He's pawing at the cage. He wants to get out. He wants to come say hi. So they are very friendly. They are the hardest reptile, many have called it, to take care of. So if you're not up for a challenge or if you've never had reptiles before, I don't suggest that this is for you. I've had an iguana before, so I was kind of aware of what, growing up, my father, he had an iguana, so I grew up used to being around reptiles. So I was kind of used to what the requirements were for a reptile opposed to maybe a cat or a dog. Chameleons are actually in the same family as iguanas, so that worked out perfectly. So a lot of their dietary and light restrictions and requirements was very similar. Obviously, iguanas aren't exactly the same as chameleons, but it helped me a lot. So I recommend that you only have a chameleon if you know what you're doing, you're responsible. It's definitely not an animal that you would give to a child or like if you were just getting them because it looked cool. It's really a lot of responsibility. And they're beautiful animals. Like, they absolutely are beautiful creatures. They grow up big and beautiful, and the hope is one day maybe to breed this guy because his coloring is outrageous. And like I said, you can't really see it in the video, but he's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, so my boyfriend and I are looking at actually just upgrading his terrarium recently or soon and making him a big boy cage because he's about 7 months old. So at this point, he's past the juvenile age and he's reaching into his adult age. So they grow really quick, chameleons do. So when I got him, he was just a wee baby, and I'll show you pictures. I'll add them in the video. And now, sorry, he likes to crawl down my back and get underneath my shirt. He's such a weirdo. Come on, Felix. Come. Come. And yeah, so they grow really quickly, and especially since he is a male, male chameleons, they're very dominant. They really like their space and they like to be able to move around. So if you have a cage that's too small for them, it's very cruel and it stunts their growth, obviously, just like any animal. You put it in too small of a cage, it's never a good thing. So water requirements. So Felix, I'm currently looking into getting a monsoon, which all reptile owners know is definitely quite a purchase. It's a couple $100, but it makes your life a hell of a lot easier. But basically, I just mist him 3 times a day with more on the hotter side of the warm water. And basically, chameleons, they don't drink out of a water dish. They just lick the droplets that come off of plants that you have in their terrarium. They are arboreal, so it's very important that you have enough branches and leaves that they can climb on and places that he can get away from his hot spots. So like cool areas, you know, behind leaves, make a little fort for him. In Felix's cage, we have a bunch of leaves that he can just bury into when he's getting too hot and just wants to cool off. What else? So there are male and female, and they're really easy to tell apart. So females, they normally don't get a lot of coloring, not like Felix, nice and blue. Normally they stay a pink color or a purple color, and for most of their lives, I've seen like at EH Chameleons, which is Felix's breeder, they have some pretty colorful females, but for the most part, they stay within hues of pink and purple. So yeah, so they're really easy to differentiate between males and females. Felix, he's obviously a male, and yeah, so that's my introduction to chameleons. I'm just kind of gonna give a broad view of what I've learned in the last 8 months. I did lots of research before I decided to get a chameleon. It wasn't like a spur of the moment decision. It was very thought out and very planned. And yeah, so I'm just gonna do this as an introduction video because I know there's not a lot of basic chameleon care or intro to chameleons videos, and I'll make a YouTube page, and if you guys have any questions, just put them down in the comments and I'll make more videos on specific things. So I hope you enjoyed it, and me and Felix will be seeing you soon. So if you'd like to see more videos from Felix and I on basic care, if you could just hit the subscribe button or comment below to see any videos that you would like. So we'll talk to you soon. Bye.